Hello there once again, and welcome to The Verdict. Mick Cornett with Kent Myers. So glad you're with us. We're here every week meeting interesting people and dealing with topical issues. And today we're going to kind of learn more about something that's been very close to us and something we're very grateful for our entire relationship here on this station.
Yes, we're going to have a visitor from Cox, our landlord, if you will, for The Verdict show. So the tenant is going to interview the landlord today. We're having Bruce Berkinshaw come on, who's the director of product management for Cox Communications, and tell us what's going on in the world of communication that Cox engages in every day and that we get to take advantage of with this show.
It should be a very interesting story about the business and about things that affect people's lives very, very closely. I think people are going to learn a lot.
And changing very rapidly.
That's for sure. Kent and I'll be back with that show when we get back on The Verdict.
America has been here before, faced with daunting challenges, and we've always found the courage to lead. Foreign oil, greenhouse gases, we have the power to do something about them with American natural gas. Chesapeake is forging ahead, converting our fleets to clean-burning natural gas vehicles, encouraging others to do the same. Welcome to America. Chesapeake, America's champion of natural gas.
Wilsey, Meyer, Eatman, Tate. We're accountants. We do taxes, business valuations, estate planning, and consulting. And we're right here in Oklahoma, working with the owners of small and medium-sized businesses. Steve Wilsey and Stuart Meyer have the resources and the experience. Wilsey, Meyer, Eatman, Tate in Oklahoma City and Tulsa.
Bow my head to pray. I know you hear each word I say. I'm pouring out my heart to you like water. I have faith, I have faith, I have faith in you.
Welcome back to the set of The Verdict. Mick Cornett with Kent Myers, and Kent's going to introduce today's guest.
Today we're really pleased to have a guest from Cox Communications. Bruce Berkinshaw is with us. He is the Director of Product Management for Cox Communications. Bruce did his undergraduate work at Oklahoma State University. He's been with Cox for 19 years now, and his duties are quite varied. He's in charge of product management, marketing, advertising services, and customer care. So you customers out there, if you need to talk to Bruce about something, don't hesitate to let him know. He is on the Jenks High School, Jenks Public School Foundation Board. He and his wife Amy have two daughters. He's a boys basketball coach at Jenks High School as well as a volunteer, while still being actively engaged with Cox on a daily basis. Bruce, welcome.
Well, thank you very much. You made it sound like I do a lot more than I do.
Well, talk about product management. Exactly what does that infer?
Sure. We have obviously a lot of products at Cox. You can look at kind of the core products that we have, which is our video service. In my mind, it's an entertainment service that we offer in the home. And we offer a lot of entertainment services, video service, the internet service, high-speed internet, and landline phone. And just recently, we also launched wireless phone service. And with all those 4 different services, we have lots of different features and enhancements that people can get.
Well, I'll say, and these are all industries that have really grown out of the cable TV industry that really started. So there's just been an explosive amount of growth that's come out of your industry from where it was in Oklahoma's infancy, say 30 years ago.
Yeah, and it's amazing. You look back, I've been in the industry for 19 years, where when I first started out, really all you could sell above and beyond your regular service was an HBO or a Cinemax or a Showtime. And now there are just an amazing amounts of things. People want entertainment, and they get it in lots of different ways. Television is just one different way that they get entertainment. They get entertainment from the internet. They can get entertainment on their wireless phone. And we have to evolve and be creative in the way that we offer services.
There's been a proliferation, has there not, of channels available for cable service. I suppose 19 years ago there weren't nearly as many channels available for Cox to provide than there is today.
Oh, that's absolutely correct. I think John Malone, who is the former president of TCI, which was a cable operator, largest cable operator 20 years ago, and they've evolved to some others, he made the quote that soon we're going to have 500 channels, and it was kind of ridiculed for a while. That where are you going to get 500 channels? Well, he had the mindset that there's going to be a lot of different bandwidth that was available, and certainly that you can. When we talk about linear channels, most providers offer between 250 and 300 channels. We do that. That's table stakes. You have to do that. But we offer so much entertainment in the form of on demand. We have 10,000 hours of 10,000 programs available on demand. A lot of them local. We've got a lot of behind the scenes Thunder stuff that you can watch, OU, OSU. For Tulsa residents, TU stuff, and we're proud of that. And just we have to be able to offer entertainment on demand for our customers.
I've also noticed that you've been highly concentrated on providing some local programming and providing as a public service, primarily sports, but also non-sports, and trying to get the schools and working with the Secondary Schools Activity Association. Why do you believe so strongly in providing those services?
Well, one is just competitively. I mean, we have to differentiate ourselves from our competitors, and that's something that we can do that they can't do quite as well. And the other thing is just community. We like to be community involved. We've got a lot of employees. We have 2,000 employees in Oklahoma. And just like you mentioned that at Jinx Middle School, I like to see Jinx on TV, and I'm sure people that are at different schools, McGinnis or they're at Edmond or they're at Moore, they want to see their kids play. Our employees do, and we love showing high school sports, and not just high school sports, but other high school activities like the high school bowl that we did, academic bowl.
Let's talk about the geographic area in Oklahoma where your signal can be received or your services received in the home. Just how much of Oklahoma do you cover?
Well, it's really real simple. We cover what we would say the Oklahoma City metro area, as north as Guthrie and as far south as Norman. But really anything in the Oklahoma City metro area, and the same thing with Tulsa. In the Tulsa metro area, as north as Owasso and as far south as Bixby, and from Broken Arrow to Jinx. But those two metro areas is what we serve right now.
And from a population standpoint, that's approximately what percent of Oklahoma's population? 80, 85%?
It's not quite that much. We're looking at about 70% of the population.
Yeah.
We cover about 800,000 homes, if you will. If you look at 2.7 per it's about 70% of the population.
30 years ago, when cable television came to Oklahoma City and Tulsa, there was a certain amount of infrastructure, probably a coax cable that was kind of put into the ground and then provided to people's houses. There's been considerable investment through the years to get where we started to where we are now. Can you kind of take us through the evolution of the infrastructure and the capital expense?
Well, it's just amazing of the bandwidth, and you'll keep hearing me say that the term of bandwidth available. We talk about, I'm going to go back just to 20 years. It's hard for me to go to 30 because I'll go with my own history. We had what was called a 330 megahertz plant. Not to get too technical, but that allowed you to have about 35 channels, and that's it.
At the time, that seemed like that would do.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think we had you had the ability of 35 channels, and you probably had 20. Yeah. And it just, it's grown and grown and grown. And how we do it is build. There's a couple of different things. We just completed very recently what's called Project Eon, which has taken that 330 plant. Of course, we had moved it past then, but now we can have a 1 gig of service. And when we did the planning for this in 2002, 2003, it's kind of like when we had back in the 330 plant, you were able to do 35 channels, you only had 20. It's kind of the same thing. This offers a myriad of channels, more than we can even think about. But it's not just channels and services linear, it's about the amount of bandwidth that we can do. And high-speed internet is one of them. High-speed internet, how cable does it in technology is they use one channel. So the same channel that you can offer, K4, for instance, that same slot that's what we had for internet service. Well, now we have 8 of those. because the amount of bandwidth has actually increased 8,000% what our customers use just in the last 6 years.
And can you expand from where you are now? Is it a finite limit, or is it pretty much whatever you want to do?
Well, that's a tough one to ask, because if we don't do anything, yes, there's a finite limit. But we're constantly looking at different ways of not only building but demodulating our system and using different things. Certainly our engineers could talk a lot better and a little bit more technical of what things that we can do.
We don't need it more technical.
And I don't want to provide it more technicals than I would say. A couple people would probably be shaking their heads. That's not right, Bruce. But certainly if we didn't do anything, it'd be a finite limit. But we obviously will. We feel that we know that in the next 10 years, right now the average speed in a customer's home is about 5 megabits of service. It's going to increase, the average is going to increase about 400 times that. Excuse me, not 400 times, but 45 times that in the next 10 years.
And why would that be?
It's just what people want to
Demand?
consume. Yeah, in 7 years.
Higher quality?
There's certainly higher quality, but just more. People want to do different things. We have an iPad, and we have and also we call Motorola Zoom in our house, which are the tablets. My 2 children, you mentioned, they consume media differently. They like to consume media from their personal device. And when they do that, they're streaming via Wi-Fi in the home, which is taking the bandwidth from the internet. It's just a different way that not just young people, but all people are consuming media, and we have to be able to do that.
How much of this is competition driven? Are competitors out there trying to come up with a better technical mousetrap, if you will, and that's forcing all the folks in the industry to see how they can improve?
Well, I'm going to give you a different answer, because I think maybe your answer is going to think is that a lot of it's competition driven. I don't think it is, and I think if you ask a couple different people at Cox, you might get a couple different answers. I personally truly believe it's consumer driven. Consumers are driving the behavior of what we need, or their behavior is driving what we need to do. If you asked me 10 years ago, are people going to need 8,000% of bandwidth than they had? I would have said no. I didn't know that. Are they going to be walking around with tablets that they're watching video? No, I didn't know that they were going to do that. But that's what they want. And that's what they do. I personally would never have guessed that, for example, just think of YouTube and MP3 players. Basically, those are video and audio qualities that aren't necessarily as good as CD qualities and HD. But people are consuming it and viewing it. They want to create content and use it. So we have to react to what our consumers want to do.
Bruce Berkinshaw is in charge of marketing at Cox. We'll be right back with more.
The thing that has made the most sense for me is realizing that I am still an educator, and that is what I do at the Chickasaw Nation. I'm Dr. Amanda Cobb-Greetham. I'm a historian, and I'm Chickasaw. The Chickasaw Cultural Center is amazing. It is a very, very special place devoted to the sharing and to the celebration of Chickasaw history and culture. State-of-the-art technology, exhibits that are not like anything I've ever seen. The Spirit Forest is incredible, and you feel as if you have actually just walked into a forest with huge trees all around you. It's timeless, and yet it's sort of also representative of our time depth, to really just sort of reach through time and touch the past. By the end of the exhibits, you really have a sense of Chickasaw cultural and political resurgence, and the extent to which we are a healthy, dynamic, and vital tribe today. Chickasaws have always been an inclusive people. This is something for the whole community and for the state of Oklahoma.
Every time our country imports energy, we're saying we've lost confidence in our own.
But Oklahomans know, under the land of the free lies the energy to be brave.
Advanced technology has led to vast discoveries of oil and natural gas that have doubled America's supply estimates.
Using one well to do the work of 10 in half the time, we're proving that America's best answers will always come from inside our borders.
Oklahoma's oil and natural gas industry, advancing our state, empowering our nation.
When you have something important to communicate, it becomes clear that there's a lot of competition for your audience's attention. So how can your message stand out and actually resonate with your audience? Legal Graphics has the answers. The team at Legal Graphics will work with you to plan, design, and even test your presentation to ensure your message will be heard and remembered. Call Legal Graphics today to schedule an appointment. The readiness is all.
Bruce Berkinshaw handles product management for Cox Communications. We're kind of getting a rundown on all the things that he does and what Cox does, and it's mind-boggling with all the information that's being handed out digitally, Kent.
Yes, Bruce, without disclosing any corporate secrets, kind of looking down the road 1 to 3 years, what can the Cox customer expect to have available that perhaps is not available today?
I think there's a couple of things, and I don't think it's revealing any secrets because it's certainly news what another cable operator did, Time Warner Cable. They were able to migrate some of their channels, or not, shouldn't say migrate, but what they called the additional outlet of additional services on iPads and tablets like the Motorola Zoom, and they were able to have Discovery Channel, ESPN on that. Certainly, I think that's some ways that we're going. We kind of talked about that as making sure we have to follow what our consumers do. We just launched our wireless service, Cox Wireless. We're really proud of that. It offers nationwide coverage, great coverage in Oklahoma. And we're going to find different ways to make sure that it incorporates with our other products. You know, we can't just have our wireless service be a standalone. There's really no reason that someone would say, why would I pick Sprint or AT&T, Verizon, or why would I pick us or Cox before those? So we've got to make sure that we use what we have, which we have other products, and we have the ability to bundle it and offer different things together. We've got to converge those products together, which we will. One of the new things we have is called Mobile Connect. Mobile Connect is an app that's available on the iPhone and the Android services that you have for phones. It's a great service. You can actually control your DVR from your phone or your iPad. You can look up your call history. And what I think is really neat about it has a little T-bar. And at the bottom, it has the list of if you're looking at your call history, it has all the call history. And up here, you can flip through, and it looks like, and it's Post-it notes. It looks like that you're flipping through. Very easy to use. Kind of allows kind of the old world technology of Post-it notes, but very easy to view of how your call history and your services. And that's something, additional things you'll see us do.
Where is this heading? It seems like it's limitless of what Cox could choose to be involved with down the line, because the technology is going to be an ever larger part of our lives.
Yeah, I think where it's heading is wherever entertainment is heading us. So for instance, people want to be, there's some group of people that want to be the first of things. So I think you'll see us offering movies that are first-run movies, even when it's out in the theaters. And we're not going to say we're not going to be competing with the theaters, but maybe there's some select movies that the movie studios will say, yeah, I'd like to show that on demand first, and we'll do that. People want to watch their television, more mobility, whether it's a video service or whether it's phone service. People want more mobility. We're going to make sure we have that. And we're going to make sure the bandwidth is there. And that's going to be a big challenge, is making sure that we can offer the services when they want them. People, when you first had internet, if you remember that, you clicked on the internet and you heard the dialing, made that weird sound as you did it, and you waited till you connect. People don't want that anymore. They click and they want it now, and we've got to make sure that we can do that.
Bruce, I want to show my age a little bit and tell you that I can remember when there was a thing called a payphone. Some of us can, some of us can't. Those have basically gone by the way, by and large, gone by the wayside because of cellular phones and the like. What's going to happen to the house phone, the traditional home telephone line? Is it going the same way as the payphone did?
Well, we'll certainly say I hope not, because we're part of that business.
Yeah.
But
you're also part of the other business.
Absolutely, we're part of the wireless business, but we didn't get in it to hedge. You know, we don't want to say we're getting into wireless because the other one's going away. Are people slowly migrating away as a group? Absolutely. We call it cord cutting. That's kind of the term for it. And in Oklahoma, about 25%, in our serviceable area, about 25% of our customers have cut the cord. They're wireless only. That's going to happen. We think that's going to continue to increase, but we think it's really the growth rate of people cutting the cord is slowing down. So, but we have to offer reasons why people want to have the home phone. So whether is it additional security or other things that we can do to tie into security systems, we're certainly looking at that. And we have to, because it can't be just a phone. Because I certainly could understand why someone would cut the cord. They've got other phones. I've got phones in my pocket right now. We probably all have phones in our pocket. It's mobile, we can use, they're personal. We've got to have reasons why someone would have a landline phone in the home.
I know this is, once again, the kind of a personal experience, but I know when we're at home and the landline rings, if the television is on, it tells you who it is that's calling up on your television screen. Is that service available through wireless?
It isn't now, but you asked about a couple of things in the next couple of years. Absolutely, that's something that we're looking at doing. Not only do we call that caller ID to the television, caller ID to the television. We're going to have caller ID to the computer. So if you're on the computer, the phone comes, and we're going to have wireless caller ID as well to the television. We think that's what our customers will want. They want as much product, what we've seen. And again, our consumer, the behavior is driving what we think what they want. We have to try to be on the forefront because once something happens, it does take a while in planning. But I think our customers would want the wireless to the television.
You're talking about customer behavior. There also seems to be a higher willingness to pay for just programming. The model that I grew up with in my home was that television seemed free because we were exposed to commercials. But there's a growing opportunity for people just to say, I want to see a movie and I'm going to pay for it with no commercials. So which side of the business is growing? Do you see a time when commercial revenue keeps decreasing and people have more willingness to pay for programming specifically?
I think, that's something that maybe I don't know. You probably have to look at some studies what people are doing. People are definitely, in terms of on-demand movies, we're seeing an increase in more and more buying on demand. But in terms of just overall video, certainly people are paying more, they're consuming more. It continues to occur that they're consuming more, whether it's through regular video, television entertainment, or video through the internet. And then I think one thing that is something that we're always concerned about are the rates. I mean, we understand rates have gone up. I mean, I'm a consumer as well as working at Cox, and that's a difficult subject because the content that, whether it's from ESPN or whether it's from Discovery, the quality has increased, the amount has increased. They certainly charge us.
Yes, no question. The leverage side for ESPN, for instance, you could not be a viable cable company if you're not offering that type of programming. And so they've created their own leverage, just as cable companies have created leverage through the years. So there's a lot of supply and demand analogies going on here. And that's why I think people are so tentative about where is all this heading. If you had told me 10 or 20 or 30 years ago that I might be paying a cable bill in the hundreds of dollars, I would have said, that's absolutely crazy. I would never do that. And today I wouldn't think twice about not doing it because I rely so heavily on it, and I think I get such good value and a good picture and nice entertainment, and it's a good expense of my time and money. But you just wonder, where is the limit on that? And let me get to my next question, and that is, do you see a day when it's just totally wireless and there's no more cable coming into the home?
I don't see that for quite a while. I think people want high quality, and I think we're going to have that. And I say the day, even in the next 25 years, I don't think the bandwidth wirelessly, the spectrum, for instance, is there to be able to transmit all the video that we have in a good high HD quality. So I think for a long, long time, you're going to see hardline cable into the home. I don't think that's changing. But for wireless, that's one thing that our government's going to be working on right now. There isn't very much spectrum for wireless, and the bandwidth on that is exploding.
Let me give you 30 seconds to talk about Cox Connects, the foundation.
Cox Connects Foundation is really a beautiful thing. Actually, 2 young women in our offices started that. In the last 3 years,
in Oklahoma,
has given over $2 million to schools looking for innovation uses of technology, also for scholarships directly to people in need. We love it. It's completely funded by our employees. And what's neat about it is our employees have really responded. If you divided that up in the amount of employees, it's an amazing amount of give that our employees are doing. And I have to thank our employees for that. And I really, really appreciate it and humbling.
Bruce Berkinshaw with Cox Communications. Thanks so much for a very interesting program.
Thank you very much.
Kent and I'll have a final word when we get back.
The good life comes naturally to Tulsa, where nature's beauty is matched with an eye for aesthetics. A legacy of neighborhoods graced with lawns and landscaping and handsome homes. A place that seems to have patented an ideal lifestyle. Bank First is loyal to the quality of life Tulsa assures its citizens, to the priority placed on education, culture, and growth. Loyal to builders who transform raw land into residential charm. Developers who see opportunity and add vitality to Tulsa's economy. Bank First serves both enterprise and private lives that need a loyal partner. It's how we help nurture this city's very good life. Bank First. Loyal to Oklahoma. Loyal to you.
All children deserve a life of hope and love, but sometimes they experience a life of pain, neglect, and abuse.
When that happens, each child deserves all the quality assistance and representation that can be offered in our legal system. For more information, call 23-CHILD.
Oklahoma Lawyers for Children, helping to bring hope and love back to the lives of abused children.
The Journal-Record is pleased to be a sponsor of The Verdict. The Journal-Record, since 1903, the best source of Oklahoma business news and legal information. And for almost 30 years, Oklahoma political, government, and business leaders have turned to the McCarville Report for accurate, reliable, inside information. Visit the McCarville Report online.
You know, some businesses change slowly and some change quickly. I can't imagine an industry that has changed so fast, so much, than the cable industry and the entertainment industry, and Cox trying to keep up with all that, and at the same time, you know, offer all the programming on a consistent basis.
Oh, people that know tell me that all started from the development of the microchip, and once the microchip was developed, all of the electronic technology, just the previous technology was out the window, and it was a brand new ball game, and it was just developed as fast as you can, and that's what's happening.
You know, cable TV started as a way to get cable to people who couldn't pick up an over-the-air signal. In other words, if you lived in a mountainous area and you couldn't pick up a TV station, this cable was invented as a way to get you programming. And now they've completely taken over the broadcast industry, and you know, are now one of the dominant players in entertainment and communications in general. Bruce Berkinshaw was our guest. He was a really terrific guest. He gave us a lot of information. Let me draw your attention to a couple of websites. Of course, if you need more information about Cox, as you know, you can always go to cox.com. We'd also like to draw your attention to our website, theverdict.tv. You can tell us about a show or a guest that you'd like to see. For Kent Myers, I'm Mick Cornett. We'll see you next time.
The preceding program was produced exclusively for the Cox Channel.